Okay, I want to give you a little update on my 3D printer. Right now I'm doing some overhaul on this particular design. What I ended up doing is I'm going with a little bit more simple concept, and that is right now I want to end up reprogramming my extruder and my heating element on a separate microcontroller system where I can literally have complete control over that at the same time using software to actually be able to turn on and off. So right now this is just a bunch of wires here. On the controller I'll reprogram my microcontrollers to do what I need to do. But what I ended up doing, I have this this old Chinese stepper controller, 4-axis controller. Got from eBay a couple of months ago. It was bad actually, so I had to actually go in there and order some parts and fix some of the issues with it. So it's working, believe it or not, it's working pretty good now after finding out some of the problems with these. These are the 6560s drivers, TB6560s stepper drivers for bipolar. And it's actually running off a Windows XP Mech 3 software. Just to make sure everything's working right. So it's actually working pretty good. I'll show you what I ended up doing. Right now I got everything programmed onto this. Just doing a little diagnostic testing on it. Now I'll start this up so you can actually see. You can hear everything's working, and let's run it. And it's actually going through the patterns right here, which I think is really neat, because if you can take existing good quality software and actually do the 3D printing, you could do that. Now, there's a lot of issues about actually using a regular CNC or CAD kind of software. Is you have to think about inverting, and that is basically instead of taking material away, you want to actually put material in. So basically, if you're going to make something, you would pretty much do the same thing as building a product, but you have to invert it. So instead of actually taking it away, you actually want to build it up. And it wouldn't be that difficult as far as just a simple concept. The slicing, that would be depending on how you actually, pretty much is still the same thing. I mean, you can still do the slicing by how much you want to put on instead of how much you want to take off per cycle. So it gives you a pretty good idea what I'm actually doing. And as you can see, it's actually going through the G-code. Everything's working the way, this is where I want it to be. Pretty much where I can run G-code and be able to do what I want to do, and also be able to extrude. Now, like I said, the extruder and the heating element is going to have its complete own microcontroller. In other words, if I notice I'm not putting down enough heated plastic, I'll be able to adjust the knob and just turn it up enough where, okay, now it's working. And the extruder will actually work on the same command when it wants to extrude or not from the 4-axis controller. So pretty much I'll be able to still control that without really modifying any software itself. So I think it would probably be the best way of going about it. Like I said, it's pretty much right now a CNC. All I have to do now is make the microcontroller for the extruder and the heating element. I don't see a problem at all. And this is a pretty powerful board. It's able to handle some pretty good amps. And in fact, what I like about this particular board, you can actually control a lot of things of this board. How much amps you want to put in that stepper motors and vice versa. So, and my motors are really super cool. So it's working really good in that particular design. Like I said, it's just, right now this is probably the way to go instead of going with a riprap, personally. Because yeah, it all sounds good, but I think this software right here is pretty much, it's been holding I mean, it's been lasting a long time, this kind of software. It's very good quality software. And a lot of people prefer this kind of software. So I think in general, by making a 3D printer out of this particular unit. And a lot of people know this software very well. It's not that difficult to actually make something with a 3D printer. So all you have to really do is just add the extruder and the heating element in it, instead of actually putting a mill on it to mill stuff. So it gives you a pretty good idea of the concept, and you know, pretty much, I mean, all I got to do is, like I said, is program the microcontroller, and I'll tell you, it's not that hard. I mean, I already printed stuff on my old software because I actually did it complete with the Arduino, but you know, I really need some more powerful ways of doing it. So this is a pretty good update, and like I said, all I have to do is do a lot of programming on my microcontrollers. And right now I still have the chicken wires, the heating elements and stuff like that, but everything else is pretty much controlled with this particular board. And the good thing about it is that I can still be able to manually control it with my keyboard. And that's really important too. So that's a pretty good update, and like I said, I mean, it is what it is, and it is a 3D printer. It's just going to be a little bit different than what everybody else is doing. Hope you enjoy this update. Talk to you later.